I went to every international railway station in the UK and ranked them all.
International railway stations. There are only a handful of them in the UK and I'm going to be trying to get to all of them. First up, London's Pancras International. The main attraction at this station is of course the Eurostar, which runs on the dedicated high-speed line through the Channel Tunnel. However, there are also domestic services which use the line which stop at Stratford, Ebbsfleet and Ashford International, which the Eurostar does not. So we're going to be going to all of those international stations.
I did not need to go into the international departures area, instead heading to platform 11.
This is the Southeastern Javelin train which propels you to Ashford International and Dover Priory at about 140 miles an hour, the fastest domestic train here in the UK. And I'm going to be taking it to Ashford International. Will I be able to go abroad from there? Stick to find out.
Soon my train pulled in at slightly less than 140 miles an hour, and before I knew it, I had left St Pancras. To rank it so far, it is a 10 out of 10 station, with an incredible building and real international services to Europe. But how would Ashford fare?
We're now on board the Southeastern high-speed train, which is absolutely rolling through Kent at about 140 miles an hour. We're heading to Ashford International, which happens to be the first stop on this service.
The speed was no joke as we whizzed through fields and over bridges, finally arriving at international station number 2, Ashford.
So Ashford International is where these trains divide, and one half goes back to London, the other goes down to Sandwich. So in that spirit, let's go and have a sandwich.
Having eaten a sandwich, I got into the international aspect of the station.
Up there you can see that there are international departures, however there aren't. Eurostar services used to call at Ashford, Ebbsfleet and Stratford and then continue on to mainland Europe. However, in 2020 this was suspended due to the pandemic and they have not resumed since.
This means that every piece of signage, and there is a lot here, is completely wrong.
So if you fancied going to Europe, you would have had to go through there and then there would have been the Eurostar trains to Europe. Alas, no longer that is the case. The platforms at Ashford International that used to go to Europe are as good as abandoned. Eurostar doesn't stop here anymore and they won't for quite a while. However, the arrivals and departures area still very much is in standing, so let's go and have a look at that.
I felt as though I had walked into a ghost station.
Bit dull, bit dreary. Once a great place, now ruined because Eurostar can't be bothered to run trains. Unlucky.
Faded murals and outdated signs littered the concourse.
Once upon a time, this is the area where people would go and catch their Eurostar trains. However, now it stands here, still, silent, nobody using it, because there aren't any trains. The Eurostar platform is owned by Eurostar and no trains call there for the time being. As you can see, there's a nice building over there. There were passport checks. It was written in French, but no longer is that the case, for the trains simply just race right on by.
I would rate this station a 5 out of 10. It has no international services at all, but at least you can catch a high-speed train to St Pancras and then change to go to Paris, Brussels or Amsterdam if you fancied. It also has regional services, which makes it more useful to passengers than others. I then hopped on a train and headed back up the line to call at the next international station.
And we have now made it to Ebbsfleet International Railway Station. Now again, there are absolutely no international services here. The Eurostar simply goes right on by, and even the domestic services don't always stop here, as we found out the hard way when the train simply ran right by to St Pancras. It's a completely brutalist sort of structure here. There is nothing of note.
The concourse was very bleak, so I went upstairs.
So this station feels incredibly eerie. There is a brutalist design, which means that it is all made of this absolutely lovely concrete. I don't like it one bit, but we're here now, let's have a look around.
The upstairs was also completely barren, with a chillingly quiet ambience.
Here is the outside of the station building. Again, it is incredibly uninteresting and bland. Over there you've got a sign saying Ebbsfleet International, despite there not being any international services, no plans for them until 2026. Eurostar stuff is all abandoned obviously, and it is incredibly eerie in there. I don't like it one bit.
The station has even more platforms which have always been domestically operated, which feature less concrete, which is good in my books.
Ebbsfleet has got the most dysfunctional seats ever. This is wood. I sit like that and I just slide off. Anyway, here is our train to Stratford International.
So I boarded my train to head to the final high-speed 1 station, which meant that I could see the international platforms from above. The station is not brilliant. I would give it a 4 out of 10. It may see Eurostar services in the future, but serves as a decent domestic station for now.
Right, we've arrived at Stratford International. The train is behind me. This is another concrete mess. We're sort of in the middle of some sort of hole made in London. That looks awful. I don't like that one bit. Ugh. Once again, there are no international services here at Stratford International. I'm sure that there will be at some point in the future. I'm not sure if there were in the past.
This is not a good pattern in terms of international stations, and indeed Stratford has never had an international train service, but was planned to host regional Eurostar trains from the north to Europe. As the station is so close to St Pancras, it doesn't make sense for them to stop, so it's been domestic all of its life.
And that is the last one on HS1. So we've got Stratford, Ebbsfleet and St Pancras, Ashford, St Pancras, Ebbsfleet, Ashford and this one here. So it's all right. I mean, it's bleak, it's bland, it's full of concrete, not very interesting. International trains don't stop there. Probably the worst of the bunch.
And as a result, I shall give it a 3. It is worth noting that in the future, Gemini trains and Virgin trains may use it as a terminus for their international trains. But it was time to wish London goodbye as I made my way to
London Euston Station, where I'm about to head off to Birmingham International on an Avanti West Coast train, which is delayed, obviously.
I didn't let the delay hinder my plans until it did.
Bad news, all of the services out of Euston have been delayed or cancelled because of some sort of emergency, which is not great for us because we can't get anywhere now. So our train to Birmingham International has just literally been cancelled by Avanti West Coast. Thank you for that one. I'm not quite sure what the plan is now.
The plan was to teleport to Birmingham, which I did successfully.
I am here at Birmingham New Street, which is one of the main stations in Birmingham, and I'm going to be heading over to Birmingham International. It's got international in the name. Does it have international services? You'll find out when we get there.
With Birmingham New Street being the delight that it is, I was more than eager to get on the Avanti Pendolino train which pulled into the platform. After boarding it, I said goodbye to New Street and piped up.
So here I am on the Avanti West Coast service to London Euston. Over there is High Speed 2, which is going to be finished any day now. And we're off to Birmingham International Station, which serves the airport. It's a lovely train and it's a very short journey, so I'll see you there.
The journey was indeed short between the two stations, only being about 10 minutes.
And here we are at Birmingham International Railway Station. The 11-car Pendolino is accelerating away behind me, going to London Euston, and I'm stuck here until I can go back to Birmingham New Street. So, why is it called International? There is an airport nearby. I don't think there's any direct connection with the airport, although I'm going to go and have a look in a minute. So while all of the stations on HS1 used to have trains going to France and Europe, this one has just got an airport with flights to places, and with that, my train's gone. So the station serves the airport. Fine. The airport isn't actually called Birmingham International, it is just called Birmingham Airport, but once upon a time it was international, which is why the station has got its name. We do have international flights here, such as those departing to Fuerteventura, Paris and Cork, and they've also got a air rail to terminal sort of thing, so we're going to go and have a look at the shuttle.
So I walked over to the shuttle stop and demanded a train. The doors proceeded to close as we raced over the car park, past another shuttle and saw another car park.
And here I am at Birmingham Airport, not Birmingham International Airport. So the shuttle was good, it was 2 minutes long, and they didn't charge me a penny. Take notes, Luton Dart. So back we go now to Birmingham International Railway Station.
Having checked out the departures, the shuttle came back and transported me to the station.
On the Airlink shuttle, they did call it Birmingham Airport Station, so maybe that is what it should be, rather than making me come all the way out here just because it's got international in the name.
But my complaints were not yet over.
You will notice that Avanti West Coast, which operates this station, spells it as Birmingham International here. However, on the platform, the signs are clearly too short, so it says Birmingham Intel. Intel? What on earth is an Intel? Anyway, here is my train. I would like to get into it.
The station overall is alright. It has more soul than the HS1s, and a shuttle which surely takes it up to a solid 6 out of 10, even if there are no international trains. With my journey having taken me from London to Kent to Birmingham, naturally the next point of interest was Essex, because why wouldn't it be?
I am here at Manningtree Railway Station on the Great Eastern Main Line, and along with fast services to London and Norwich, there is also a slow train to Harwich Town. However, where does it stop just before that? Harwich International. So let's get over there and see what it is all about.
Soon enough, the train arrived to take me away to my final international station.
So this service is operated by Class 720 trains with Greater Anglia, which are basically commuter stock, as is this. This is a commuter train to Harwich Town from Manningtree. And the next station is going to be Rabness. Who cares? Not me. I want to get to Harwich International. Come on!
We made our way through the Essex countryside, with the River Stour making its way into the scene.
Behind me you can see the estuary just over there, and that indicates as to what the international status of this railway station is. No, it's not for air. No, it's not for trains. It is, in fact, for boats.
Our journey continued into some sidings where I could see a ship.
And here we are, after an incredibly long journey over all of these international railway stations, we have finally made it to Harwich. So what is there at this station?
There were some plants, a footbridge, a man dancing on the platform, and really not much else.
This is a properly international station. The border force just came by and questioned us a little bit. Apart from that, Harwich International is quite interesting. Essentially, we've got Dutch flyer services in which a Greater Anglia train will come from Liverpool Street or Cambridge or wherever else to this station, and then passengers will get on a ferry bound for the Netherlands. Essentially, the Hook of Holland is where they go to. Yeah, it's clearly used to serve that. There's a ship over there, and if you follow me around here, ladies and gentlemen, it is quite bleak, a little bit desolate. There's really not much going on. And that is not a sign that you see every day on the Greater Anglia network, nay, anywhere else, because it says ships. What other place do you know which has got a sign saying ships? Any other port sort of place in the UK?
I headed over the footbridge into the passenger terminal.
And here we are. I assume this is where passengers will wait for the ship. There's no one here because the next ship departs at about 11. So there's lots of seats, vending machines, that's nice. And most crucially, platform 1 is just down there. Let's go.
I headed down to platform 1, where I thought my train would depart from. It didn't, which meant I had to race as if my life depended on it back to platform 2. This peril did not stop me from having a look at the buildings.
And we've got a lovely old station building. That is not so much the case if you follow me around here, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got some sort of 1960s looking slop. We're going to do a lift review and probably miss our train because of it. Let's go down. There's capacity for 40 people in here. I don't believe that at all. Okay, 40 people, there's 40 of me in here. We're not even moving anywhere. Sorry, why did you miss your train? Oh, I was stuck in the Harwich International lift. Platform.
The lift begrudgingly began its descent, and with the train at the platform, I hopped in. Overall, the station is very middle of the road. It looks a bit worse for wear with the decoration, but it offers a viable and frequently used ferry service to another country. I would give it a 7. I'm levitating.